So for those who don't know, there is a YouTuber by the name of Steve Shives. He is a feminist YouTuber, and recently he was trolled by no other than Bearing himself. Now, I personally have a bit of a problem with Steve Shives. I disagree with mostly everything he says, but my problem with him first arose when he made that video about a year back. This one.
Hey, here are 5 harmful things I've noticed about ableism.
I've got to be honest, as a disabled man, there is nothing that annoys me worse than somebody who isn't in that situation talking about ableism. Anyway, that's not what I'm focusing on today, because plenty of people already tore that video to shreds. Liberal lunacy. I think Jeff Holiday made a video about it. The point is, I don't agree with Steve Shives, and when I saw the video in question that Bearing trolled him on, I had a few points that I wanted to make about it. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's get to it. Jesus. Okay, so Bearing by the name of Tristan Loves went on to Steve's YouTube and he made a comment hoping to be featured in one of his weekly videos. Now, if you want a lot more details about what Bearing did, I suggest you go watch his video. But basically, to sum it up, Tristan, this imaginary person, claims to be a trans woman, but they also identify with many more. He basically he's created a bit of a unbelievable yet somehow totally believable character. They went to an anti-feminist meetup of a certain YouTuber, and they were assaulted and urinated on, called horrible names. They were called delusional. They were spat on. The YouTuber apparently joined in, and basically Steve doesn't even flinch, of course, because it completely fits his narrative about the way he feels about anti-feminist YouTubers. Doesn't even ask questions, just completely buys into it. But what I found worrying was he seems to look at this situation and not think, oh, that's an absolutely terrible thing to happen, because he believes it. Remember, he completely believes it. He seems to immediately jump into it and say, this is brilliant. This is proof of what I've been saying all this time. I cannot wait to tear into this and structure my narrative around it, because it proves all my points. So that's what I found worrying, and we're just going to take a little bit of a look at how he responded. Like a virtue signaling fucking sociopath, that's how.
Well, first of all, let me just tell you, I think what happened to you was awful, and I'm so sorry that you went through that, and I'm so sorry that you are suffering because of it in the aftermath. I think that's atrocious.
Keep in mind that he believes this. He believed that this person was assaulted and urinated on and spat on, and he sits there showing absolutely no emotion, basically just going, yeah, that's too bad. I just need to get through this part so I can get to the part that I really want to talk about. Let's hurry this up, shall we?
And there's no excuse for that, and there's no excuse for the person who was the head of the meetup, this YouTuber that you refer to, tolerating that. I have never convened a meetup of my fans. I don't know if I ever would. I don't know if I would ever be popular enough to do such a thing. But if I did, I would certainly like to think that if one of the people who came to the meetup to meet me and to interact with other people who were fans of mine was being victimized, like you described yourself being victimized, that I wouldn't just sit there and let it happen.
Yeah, if I were to hold, a meetup, I wouldn't do that. And obviously, this other person who I don't know would, they totally would. Even though I'm the type of person who says shit like this.
If I open my newspaper and I read Nazi got punched last night, I'm going to say, oh, good. You know, that's what I'm going to say, because fuck him. If I read the newspaper next week and the story is, oh, Richard Spencer is afraid to leave his house because every time he steps out his front door, somebody punches him, I'm going to say, good. Fuck him. If something shitty happens to a shitty person, I'm not going to pretend that they're not a shitty person and say, oh, that's too bad. It's so sad that happened. I'm going to say, good. Something shitty happened to a shitty person. Well, first of all, let me just tell you, I think what happened to you was awful, and I'm so sorry that you went through that, and I'm so sorry that you are suffering because of it in the aftermath. I think that's atrocious.
Yeah, you see, it's completely fine if somebody gets assaulted and urinated on, if, I disagree with them. But if it's somebody who, I feel like I'm fighting the cause for, and I'm some sort of fucking hero for, then sure, that's awful. How can it benefit me? I wouldn't allow that to happen. Not me, the great Steve Shives. I'm the Rick Grimes of the fucking YouTube.
And I certainly wouldn't participate in it.
Well, they would. The other, the bad, the nameless, the anti, the enemy. They would. Not me, they would.
That's appalling, but sadly not all that surprising.
You utter nutcase. What are you talking about? You honestly hear that an anti-feminist YouTuber had their fans assault and spit and insult somebody because they believed that they were trans, and then they joined in, and then they were assaulted in the car park and urinated on, and you buy it, and it's not surprising. I actually went and I looked into the comments of this video on Steve's channel, and a lot of people were talking about Bearing and how Bearing's a bully and all his subscribers are bullies. But I honestly do not think that Bearing having a bit of fun and completely trolling Steve because he knows he'll take the bait without question. He won't even give it a second glance. He won't do any investigating. It fits his narrative, so he's going to take it and he's going to run with it. I honestly think that is completely inconsequential when you consider the viewpoint that Steve has on other people and how he demonizes them. I think that's much more of an issue than somebody having a bit of fun at his expense.
The behavior that you described from the YouTuber, and I don't know who you're talking about, but it could be any one of dozens of people. That's the shitty part.
I totally don't know what you're talking about, but I believe it. Doesn't surprise me. It's not like if this person came forward and said, "Oh, it was Bearing," "Oh, it was Sargon of Akkad," "Oh, it was fucking Chris Reagan," you'd be like, "What? No, not them." You have absolutely no identity to pin this horrible imaginary crime on, and yet you already just buy it because it's unsurprising. Fucking hell.
It could be any one of dozens of people. That's the shitty part.
I think the shitty part is the perspective that you hold and the amount of imaginary disrespect and awful opinion that you have of others just because they disagree with you. Because that's the issue here, I think, is this harmless incident of somebody having a bit of fun at your expense completely reveals your true intentions in terms of how you see other people. You clearly see the bad in people.
And the people who were there joining in on the abuse of you, that's the sort of thing that is fostered. That's the attitude that is encouraged by the tone of their videos, by the sort of ponage culture that is brought up, where skepticism and argument and debate.
Skepticism, arguments, debate, buying any phony story that fits your narrative. How can you claim to be a skeptic when somebody puts forth the most unbelievable story that is obviously bait and you call yourself a skeptic? No, you're a believer. You drink your own Kool-Aid, mate.
Is is reduced to just making a response video to someone and pausing it every few seconds and just articulating your mindless disagreement with them?
Who the fuck are you calling mindless? Knobhead. I'll have you know that I am a very intelligent individual with great points to make. I am not just making this video to throw shit at you. Okay, fine, maybe maybe I am a mindless ape. But you know what? I have a right to be. Because I wouldn't go around advocating punching people and pretending I care when somebody gets assaulted just because I get to talk about my opinion some more. You're a phony. You're a virtue signaling sociopath, mate.
Just being contrarian for the sake of it, and maybe throwing in some ad hominems and some insults and some mockery, and that's what they consider skepticism. That's what they consider intelligent discourse.
Right, okay, maybe I was a little bit harsh calling you a sociopath and well, you're definitely a virtue signal. But if somebody comes to me and tells me a story about how the ghost of fucking William Shakespeare came through the wall with KFC and they had a great conversation, I'm not just going to go, oh, wow, that's amazing, because that completely fits with my beliefs, so I'm going to use it. But if it was another story, then I'm going to be a skeptic, because that doesn't fit my beliefs and opinion. Of course, how can you call anybody a skeptic and say that you are and they're not, and that you're the better skeptic when you can believe shit like this, Steve?
It's disgusting. It's disgusting and pathetic and juvenile. As I think most people know, I moderate my comments. I screen every comment that is posted to my videos. I hold everything for approval by me.
Okay, so let's just lay this out. Let's lay this out. A trans woman goes to a meetup of an anti-YouTuber. They get insulted, spat on. The YouTuber jumps in. They then get assaulted in the car park. Then you come along, you say, oh, I'm sorry, that's awful. You know, this doesn't surprise me. I don't have any details, but I totally believe it. And you know what? This wouldn't happen if it was my meetup. And you know, the reason I'm not surprised is because those YouTubers, they foster that kind of environment. And you know, I moderate my comments because this is totally relevant, because what happened to you is totally because of what they choose to do and what they choose to say. You're buying into bullshit, then you're justifying it and coming up with a reason for it, and then you're circling back and patting yourself on the back because you don't do those things. It's a circle jerk of unbelievable vastness.
So the kind of abuse that takes place on other people's channels who don't moderate their comment sections or don't care does not happen here on this channel, and it won't as long as I'm doing this.
What abuse? Somebody goes on a bearing video, says I'm a trans woman, and then a bunch of people start insulting them, and then you immediately equate that to it happen in real life. Do you know the difference between reality and the YouTube comment section? Are you saying that these people, if they're going to insult somebody on the internet, they're more likely to attack somebody in reality? They're the ones who can't tell the difference. I should have scripted this video. I knew I should have scripted this video. All I do is ramble on. And guarantee you, when I'm editing this video, I won't even agree with half the shit I say. I'm just mindless. I'm just disagreeing for the sake of it. It's probably true, to be honest. I might subscribe to this Steve guy. Seems like he's got his head screwed on right.
I mean, I'm not going to allow my comment sections to be used to ridicule and abuse people, or to give, you know, platforms, however small, to people who just want to troll and pick fights and just be assholes.
I will do a whole section of my video showing how easy I am to troll, because I am totally not going to be skeptical about the most stupid fairy tale story that anyone like me in my position is willing to believe. There's actual proof and video of people out there getting attacked, and because you disagree with that person's beliefs and you completely demonize them more than they actually are, then it's fine. And you say shit like, "Oh, I don't advocate it, but I'm not gonna condemn it either." But then the minute somebody's in a similar position, but you show sympathy for that person, then of course it's a terrible crime, and you can't allow that to happen. And so, of course, Steve Shives moderates his comments, because why the fuck wouldn't he? He's Batman.
So you're welcome here. You know, you're welcome here. If you treat people with respect, then people will treat you with respect. And if people don't treat you with respect, then I will get rid of them. They won't be here. So you're welcome here.
I appreciate the offer, Steve. I really do. I'm glad I'm welcome there. Unless you consider this abuse. You know, maybe I'm completely wrong. I don't know. I doubt anyone got this far anyway. I can say what I want. Anyway, check out Liberal Lunacy. Check out Jeff Holiday, Chris Reagan, Sargon of Akkad, all the other people I mentioned in this video. Check out Steve Shives. Why not? Go down a rabbit hole. It's nice to watch somebody who you disagree with. Echo Chamber and all that. And of course, go check out Baron's video on the subject to get a more comprehensive idea of what this all was about. This has been my video. I am not sure I'm particularly proud of it. Like with all my videos, I'm a very fly by the seat of my pants kind of guy. But anyway, it's done now. It's up. It's out. I don't care. The world will keep spinning. People still get abused. Nazis will still get punched. And one day, so will I.